राम सामर्थ्य योग पीठ ट्रस्ट।
Pranam, pranam, pranam. Okay, let's get started. Welcome everyone to today's series of three sessions. This is first session for from chaotic life to inner peace. Most of you are new to Saamarthya Yog, and I met you over my travel in last 6 months to different parts of the world. Thanks for joining in. Before we get started, we will just try to tune our consciousness to the higher consciousness. Sit straight, your back straight, your neck straight, your mind calm, composed, and focused. Now breathe in and out effortfully. Breathe in as much as you can and breathe out as much as you can for 3 times. Now breathe in and breathe out without an effort. Just be an observer. Visualize yourself as if you have stepped back from yourself. You're observing yourself breathing. So your breath is going in and out. You're not breathing voluntarily, it's involuntary. Breath is just going in and coming out. Now focus a solar energy in your navel. It's called Manipur Chakra. Muladhar, Sadhishthan, Manipur, Anahat, Vishuddha, Agya Chakra, and Sahasrara Chakra. There are 7 plexus of energies, chakras of energies, which we focus on. Why we're doing this first before we get started? Because when we think of this material world, when we think of perishable things, when we think of transitory things, our consciousness goes to the lower levels. And when we visualize this light rising upwards with full concentration and focus on it, while chanting Om, our consciousness rises to higher levels. When this lower consciousness merges with the higher consciousness, our perception about ourself and surrounding changes. And that's where the journey from mortality to immortality starts. From darkness to light starts. From diseases to health starts. From ignorance to knowledge. From gross to subtle. So your consciousness has to rise above this materialistic thinking. Otherwise, we will fail to understand ourselves and the surrounding, and then the conflict begins. We will dwell more into it through neurosciences, psychology, quantum physics, a lot of different scientific explanations we will look into today, and then we'll try and practice some exercises that will help you to realize your true self. Bring in more coherence and synergy in your life, in this consciousness and the higher consciousness. So because your mind gets modified, it will have lots of modifications when you things outside. So what you're trying to do here, you're trying to focus on a solar light in your navel. And then as you say Om, we'll say Om for 3 times, you move it upwards through your chakras. Visualize that as this is moving upwards, all your anxieties, your fears, your distress, your diseases, your all deficiencies in your life, in mind, body, and material world is just going away. You are rising to yourself. You're rising to the higher consciousness. You are that what you're searching for. You are consciousness, existence, bliss itself. You just forgotten about it. That is it. You've been thinking about yourself as someone's mother, daughter, sister, father, brother, a businessman, a person who works as a doctor, engineer, and whatnot. These are not your identities. You are much beyond that. You are the happiness itself. You are the consciousness itself. How we forgot about it, we will discuss in our today's session. But let's focus on this light. The better your visualization are, more better results you will reap. It's not just about listening to a session or a lecture. It's not a lecture, it's a discussion and a conversation. It's a life changing conversation. And we are embarking on a path of self realization, path of true happiness, path of truth. There is there will be no confusion in your mind and body about who you are, what is the purpose of life, what is happiness, who am I, why am I here in this world, what am I doing here. When this conflict goes away, you will realize that you enjoy the absolute bliss, the eternal bliss. Then you are no longer running after pleasures, you're not no longer running after material things. Everything that you need will automatically tune into your life. So visualization is very important. How you increase that, that also we will cover in coming sessions. So visualize a solar light in your navel plexus and visualize that it is rising upwards, 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 piercing your brain. It goes a feet and a half above your head and it opens up into a beautiful lotus flower. The petals of this flower are ever expanding. They cover your whole existence, your house, your city, your country, the whole earth, the whole universe, and it's expanding and expanding and expanding. The reason behind it is that all our sorrows are because of the feeling of I with the body, the identification of self with the body and mind. We call it as mind body complex. And this practice helps you to go beyond your bodily experiences. So, even for a fraction of a second in your meditation, in your practices, if you can get glimpse of your true self, which is so brilliant, so magnificent, so pious, so pure, so happy, once you get a glimpse of it, then your mind will stop wandering outside, trying to search for happiness and pleasure outside. It will get a taste within itself of that eternal bliss. That's why when you visualize on this light and you go beyond your body consciousness, you will instantly feel the difference. If you are completely focused and you give form to the words I'm to my commands, then you will see even with this 3 Om chanting, something will change within you instantly. So let's do Om for 3 times. How you do say Om? Om is made up of 3 parts, A, U, and Ma. When you join it in Sanskrit, we call it as Om. It is the universal sound, the most primordial sound from which everything has come. Again, we will dwell into science of that in coming lectures, but let's start by saying Om. Breathe in. Om. Very good. Now, with full enthusiasm and with a smile on your face, even louder. Oh. Beautiful. One more time. Oh. Keep your eyes closed and see how calm and composed and relaxed you feel. Keep your eyes closed while I offer my obeisance to God and Guru. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vishishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashikrito Vande Bhagwanto Punaha Punaha. Ramo Rajamani Sada Vijayate. Ramam Ramesham Bhaje. Ramena Vihata Nishachar Ramaya Tasmai Namaha. Ramanasti Parayanam Partaram. Ramasya Dasosmiham. Rame Chittalayah Sada Bhavatu Me. O Rama Mamottara. O Rama Mamottara. O Rama Mamottara. Welcome everyone to today's session. Um, Thank you for joining in. And we are embarking on a journey to the self. You know, we all have been suffering silently within ourselves. We have all created our own identities. We're trying to understand that who actually we are. What is the purpose of life? Who am I? Why I'm here in this world? How can I be happy forever? I don't want to run after small happiness and pleasures and then feel sad and low esteemed and then feel that life is so chaotic. I'm just continuously responding to the situation without understanding where am I going. And it happens with most of us. But it takes an intelligent person to sit down once in life and think, where am I going? Where am I heading? What is the purpose of life? Intelligent people like you. Most of the mediocre intellect people will never try to understand these questions, or they would never ask themselves this question. Why? Because they're trying to fit into the society. So we will go through social psychology and neurosciences of how why we're trying to fit into the society. We want acceptance from the society, and what it creates a conflict in us. What our real self wants is the peace, is the calmness inside, and our mind body complex is running after things and it is trying to find happiness which it is not there. It is not in the material world, it is not in the external experiences, it is not in the worldly material thing where we're seeking it. If something is not there, no matter how long you find it, you will not find it. You will only find where the thing is. Similarly, your happiness resides within yourself. You are the happiness. This is all Western understanding, especially in American Constitution. They say everyone has a right to pursuit of happiness. I slightly disagree to that. Everyone is happiness, and we are the happiness. We are not running after things in pursuit of happiness. If we are, then our understanding about self and happiness is not correct. So we'll start by understanding a little bit about brains. I understand not all of us come from medical or science background, so I'll try and keep all the terminologies very simple. We'll try and take some questions at the end of the session if we are not running short of time, but you're more than welcome to send your questions across. Sadhana ji is there. She's our coordinator for India, Bharat, and Lisa's number will be provided. She's coordinator for UK. And you're more than welcome to ask questions. This is not a lecture. This is a discussion. That is how the Sanatan Hindu tradition has evolved. In a sense, the science of the school of philosophy and science has evolved by question and answer method. In Vedanta, you see, there's always disciples seeking the questions, and then they are discussing their questions with their gurus, and they are brainstorming depending on their individual experiences, and then using inductive and deductive logic, very rational thinking, very, very rational thinking. People think that spiritual people are not rational. I think those who don't understand spirituality are very irrational. And I will cover that through science. So keep your mind open to all ideas. You know, try not to hold on to your egotistic approach in your life that I know this contradicts to what I think, then I will not accept it. I'm going to cover that in this session anyways, that why we are so stuck in our belief systems, why we are so stuck in our own bubbles of thinking the way we think, and how it causes so much stress, so much anxiety, so much pain inside, and so much pain to the society. And it has its impacts on humanity at large because it impacts how the protein synthesis happens in your body and how it affects the genetic transmission of lots of disorders. So, to begin with, if you can please put up a slide for picture of brain, so we can start by understanding what brain is. It is a very important organ of in this human body. I think what we feel, who we are, why we feel so, all the thoughts, memory, emotion, motor skills. Suppose if I'm moving my hands, suppose I am feeling I'm feeling happy, sad, depressed, low esteem, high self esteem, motivated, discouraged. Everything that I feel, all these emotions are being processed by this organ which is called brain. Brain has 100 billion neurons in it. You know, it's a group of neuron. Neuron is the smallest cell. It's a single unit. And again, I want to tell you that when you understand this concept of Samarthya Yog and Vedantic philosophy, you will understand that we also, our existence is not very individualistic. We are the same. Our bodies might appear different to each other. Like my body, maybe I'm in a male body, I might look Asian, someone might look, someone is British, they may be in a, they have English nationality, or male, female, caste, creed, religion, color of skin. This all differences are there, but when we start thinking deeper in life, that's where the unity comes. So I would want you to have a very sharp attention to what I'm going to say, because it's very logical in its, and then once you understand the logic, it's like almost like an algorithm. If you miss one part of one step of it, you will not have the logical understanding of what I'm trying to explain to you. So try and be with me. Forget about everything for next couple of hours, hour and a half, I would say. So let's go to the prefrontal part of the brain. So if you can put that up on there. So what happens is that as you go deeper, you realize that my heart, my body is different from yours, but our hearts are much more similar. If you go deeper, the cells of our hearts are much similar, even more similar. If you go to the DNA level, our DNA is 99.99% same. And if you go even deeper, the amino acids this DNA made up of, they are exactly same. 4 5 steps inwards, and we see that we find less and less differences in our existence. Similarly, when our understanding of self and surrounding improves, then, because if you don't understand the world and your surrounding and yourself correctly, your responses are wrong. That means your understanding is wrong, decision making is wrong, and your life is chaotic. You are just seeing others and you're following them, thinking that they are happier than I am, they are more successful than I am, and then you're just repeating the actions others are repeating without understanding the meaning of it. So, as you see in this picture, the prefrontal cortex that we will focus on, this is responsible for higher functions. This is not available in animal brains. That means this is its neocortical region. It has evolved during the evolution, and this region is responsible for decision making, planning, cognition, understanding, memory, all executive functions that we do. This is also responsible for rational thinking. I will come to that in a bit. But This rational thinking actually get overpowered by our emotional thinking, which is run through the limbic system, which we'll cover in coming sessions. But today we will just try and understand that brain is a group of neurons. There are 100, approximately 100 billion neurons, lots and lots of neurons. Ordinary individuals fail to utilize so much resources they have in their brains, and what they do, they just go on limbic system pattern or their emotional patterns, where they form incoherent patterns in their behaviors. They identify themselves with that, and then they fight for it whole their life. That's why husbands and wife will have lots of arguments, brothers and sister will have arguments, friends will have arguments, people will have yes, difference of opinion is okay. But if you have already decided what you're going to discuss, you know what what you're going to discuss, and you are just sticking to your ideas without giving any opportunity to someone else to present their ideas, then you're just stuck in your ideas, and that is very damaging for your own inner peace, and also damaging for the humanity at large. So this prefrontal cortex actually helps us in focus, attention, cognition, decision making, planning, execution, all the higher functions that we need. If suppose my memory is 10x, then will I not be more productive for the society and for myself? If my focus is 10x, can I will I not be more calmer and peaceful, and I can do what other people can do in 10 hours, I can do in 2 hours. That means my efficiency, my skill sets, my proficiency in what I do, that increases. That means I'm not struggling in my day-to-day life. Why? Because my capabilities are much better than the circumstances. That means my reactivity to the circumstances is in my control, because I'm more skilled, more focused. I have better memory, so I can understand things better. My cognition, that means understanding yourself and surrounding, is much better than others. So you're not struggling in life. If you're not struggling in life, you're living the life. And if you are living the life, then the way you want, then you're more happy. You're happy than how you see yourself. So, coming back to that point, now what happens is that we will gradually understand that why we think the way we think. So these 100 billion neurons, what happens, the different experiences in these, so we go through different experiences. When we go through different experiences, these experiences create connectivity between the neurons. It's called neural connectivity, synapses. So they connect to each other like this. And depending on, and that leads to different emotions or reactivity to the circumstances. How often we use these pathways, that defines that, those synaptic pathways become more and more stronger, and that starts defining who we are and our personalities. Now, if this doesn't happen rationally, that would mean that just randomly by observing others is called, we have certain types of neurons in our brain which are called empathetic neurons. That means by observing others we start behaving without rationalizing that why I'm behaving that way, because we want to fit into the society. We want to be part of the society. We want to fit into the society, without realizing that what our inner aspirations are. You are after happiness. If whole society is suffering, or they have a wrong belief system, or society does not understand deeper concepts of the life, we still try to observe them and follow them. So it's a very incoherent action that we get into. That means we start just following the pattern of others in in the pursuit of happiness, without realizing whether we will become happy or not, because we are not using our intelligence and rationality to understand the situation, who we are and how we should react. Now what happens is that the more we use this, the stronger the synaptic pathways get. Suppose if someone is learning how to play the piano, so first day he will find it very difficult to learn the piano. But what will happen? Second day, third day, after a month, 6 months, 1 year, you see there will be a flow in how he plays. Maybe after a couple of years, you see that this action becomes so inbuilt in that individual that he doesn't have to exert himself. He actually starts enjoying the process of playing piano. Initially, you have to put focus. You fail so many times, you can't play the tune you want to play. But gradually, what happens? You start playing it involuntarily. That means you go into a state of flow. They call it a state of flow in psychology. Similarly, we learn everything. Similarly, when we learn the rationality, and similarly our emotions work. Now, if we can learn how to respond to the circumstances, first is to be able to understand situation properly by using higher cognitions. That means understanding who am I, and what is my purpose, and then what is the, this surrounding is. Then my rationality changes. Then when I can rationally understand, my decision making will be very good. If my decision making is very good, then I'm not getting involved into lots of chaotic activities that the worldly people are involved. You save your time, effort, energy, and your focus to build yourself. Once you work on yourself through Samarthya Yog, that's why Samarthya Yog focuses on. Samarthya is a Sanskrit word which means the the inner might. If you can develop your potential, if you can work on your potential, unleash your potentials, then the same individual, no matter, there was a guy called Roderick. Roderick, he was a mathematician, and in the childhood he failed in his basic maths, but just through using neuroplasticity and brain training activities, he became one of the. He was called as human calculator. So any skill set can be learned, any emotions can be managed by repetitive learning and repetition of certain practices. Samarthya Yoga uses that ability. It is called abhyasa, that means right practice, and non-attachment, that will I come to later on when we'll jump into practices. Non-attachment means that not identifying yourself with the problem. You are not the part of the problem. If you are part of the problem, then you're problem yourself. If you are standing away from the problem, then you are part of the solution and not part of the problem. So if you can put up the slide for neuroplasticity, we'll quickly go through that, and then we will move on to understanding what creates problems in our life, why we have so much dissonance in our understanding. So if you can please bring up the slide for neuroplasticity, please. So neuroplasticity is a very important aspect. That is how we learn anything. Now, actually, it's not being taught in the school that how we build our neuroplasticities. That's why the modern education system is completely. I'm sorry to use this word, is useless, because we just giving breadwinning education. We are not creating humans, great individuals who can transform themselves, their families, and society and humanity at large. So what you see on this slide here is the neuroplasticity. Again, it is just the pathway. As if, suppose if you are walking through a field of green grass, you just keep walking on the same line time and again. The wearing of that grass will create a path. Similarly, whatever you repetitively do in your life, now try and understand very carefully. No one has ever taught you to how to be rational about things, how this neuroplasticity works, why we are not taught in school at, when we are 4, 5, 6 year old, that what is brain, what is mind, what is emotion, why we feel the way we feel, what is the purpose of life, who we are. If these, we're working with lots of governments in different parts of the world to work on this, that this should be the first thing. Brain is such an important part of our existence, and we don't teach anything about it. An accountant also need to learn about how brain works, because he is human first before he is an accountant or a doctor or an engineer or any other field. You need to understand how your brain works. So what happens in your brain is that, as you can see in this slide, that certain types of traumas, a sudden trauma can change your react, the neuroplasticity in your brain. Exercises, emotions, learning, different type of pleasurable experiences, and it works both ways. So it has a bright side and a dark side. What it means is that if your neuroplasticity is developing as you want it to develop, then it can help you. But if you don't know how to operate your brain, then suppose if a situation comes and you get afraid of it, you're fearful of it, an impression has been created, a pathway has been created. Then next time the same situation come, you're again afraid of it. Third time the situation come, you're again afraid of it. What will happen afterwards? Afterwards, being afraid of that situation or thing or place becomes an autonomic process in your brain. That means it is no longer under your control. As soon as you see that situation or thing, you will be afraid. Similarly, if you learn how to respond to a situation and you have an ability to understand this situation and then to respond accordingly, then you are able to respond whether I should be afraid of this thing or not. Suppose people get angry so easily because they don't have an inhibition center in an ability to create a gap between receiving an information and responding to the information. That is what we're going to learn in this course, is that how we understand. First, our understanding has to be better about the surrounding or a circumstances or a stimuli, and then finding the gap. In that gap we make a decision and then respond. Our bad habits doesn't become our natural responses. That is what happened in addiction, obsessive compulsive disorders, depression, psychological, most of the psychological problems that you see. Your reactivity to the circumstances is not under your control. That means everything is making you fearful. That should not be the case. That should not be the case. But it doesn't get taught in these schools. Now we will learn it, and many of us, you have expressed that you want to learn and share the knowledge. Walk on this path of path of truth, path of light. Where you can spread happiness, path of happiness, where you can get happy, your families can get happy, and then you can spread the knowledge to other people without any selfish interest, to make other people's life better, to make better society and better humanity. So the negatives and positives of it is that neuroplasticity means that brain is always learning, whether we know or we don't know. Brain is neutral. It does not understand the difference between right and wrong unless you develop your prefrontal cortex, this part of your brain, where you can train it to understand and be use your you can bring the slide in, please. So you can use your rational thinking. It's called viveka in Sanskrit. Discriminative intellect, so that you can discriminate between what is right and what is wrong, what is for me, what is not for me. Now, how do you decide that? Also, we will cover in Saamarthya Yog that what is the purpose of life? Where am I heading? Why am I heading? Because unless this confusion goes, this chaotic life will not stop. And don't be afraid of it. Yes, not everyone is born with that intuitive intellect or that inclination to the spirituality or these deeper questions of existence, but with little bit of attention and seeking help and guidance from guru, you can definitely build that aptitude to be understanding of the difficult situations, this difficult circumstances of life, and how you can navigate your way through. It also, the negative aspect of it, that it learns whatever is repeated, both helpful and unhelpful thoughts, action, habits. Again, if you don't know, if you don't have rationale behind why you are acting in a certain way, why do you drink alcohol, why do you why you are sarcastic in your life, why do you get angry on every single thing, why you are not accommodative of other thoughts and ideas, why you're so prejudiced about yourself and surrounding. You don't have any rationale to it. People just say, oh, I don't like it, I like it. It doesn't work like that. If you're too fixed in your ideas, then you're gone, you're done. You will get a punishment for life, to be very stressful personality in your life, very critical of everything that you see, very unhappy in your life, because you will have no contentment. So neuroplasticity works in a negative way and a positive way. When you don't know how to use it, then it works negatively. And that's why you see so much crime, so much knife crime, so much terrorist activities. Recently, it happened in India where innocent people were killed by some extremists, with just for their belief system because they feel threatened. That's how the psychology works. If someone challenges your idea, you feel so threatened, and we all do in our our individual capacities, because we are so wired to behave in certain way that we are not able to challenge our own shortcomings. In spirituality, in Adhyatma, you sit down and you do dissection of yourself. You're not critical about someone else, but you're critical about your own self. You You sit down and you dissect yourself and see what is going good in my life, what is going bad in my life, how did I behave from morning to evening today, you know, why did I not feel that happy as I felt yesterday, or why I'm not feeling happy, how can I change my actions, what can I do better. And all this will lead to learning, and this learning is more rational and controlled. When your learning is more rational and controlled, that means you are in control of your life. That means you are in control of your decision making. That means you know where you're going. And where decisions are right, your actions are right, results have to be right. So, neuroplasticity may entrench depressive, anxious, obsessive behaviors or overreactive patterns. That means I meet lots of patterns. Patients, lots and lots of patients, psychological patients. They know that the way they are thinking about things is wrong, their behaviors are wrong, their reactivity is wrong, but they've repeated it so many times in their lives that what happens is that it goes out of their control. They go into loop like it happens in programming, when you put a loop, repeat. So it just goes in loop and loop and loop. It's a vicious circle you get caught into. This is the time for you. That's why wake up and see how am I behaving. If I'm just a slave of my mind and body complex, of my false identification, then this is the wake up call for you. Wake up, make a rational decision, understand who am I, what is the purpose. I want to be happy. I just don't want small pleasures in life and then be sad and happy, sad and happy. No, I want to be happy forever. I want eternal bliss. And that is what you will get when you start practicing Samarthya Yoga. Now, when you use neuroplasticity for your betterment and knowingly and what how you can use it, this is called as the Saamarthya Yog neuroplasticity practice exercises and practices, which we will cover in coming sessions. What it does is that it gives you resilience. That means, suppose if you are going to Manchester, right? Now, you're not going to get into your car and find a route for Birmingham, and then you go on that path and you keep going on, could keep going on, and someone tells you, "Listen, where do you want to go?" You say, "Oh, I'm going to Manchester," but he says, "Sorry, Mister, the path you are on, it will take you to Birmingham, not Manchester." And if you refuse to say, you are going to tell me where I'm going and what I want to do, I know where I'm going and I will still continue to go. So if your destination is on right hand side and you turn left, and no matter how fast you run, you take, the best car, or you fly, or if you're going further away from the destination because you don't know where you're going, what is your path. So that is why you need to build your own system, your own practices. How do I get up in the morning? What do I do as soon as I get up in the morning? How do I become more calm, composed, more focused, more alert, more intelligent, so that I can understand situations properly? How can I improve my cognition? This question we should ask every day. It's not that we keep telling kids that they should do it. No, we all, at no matter what age we are, no matter what caste, creed, religion, color we are, no matter what gender we all have to work on self. One who conquers self conquers the world. So this neuroplasticity will help us to build two things. That is, one is the resilience. That means if you have emotional resilience, you are much better placed to win your battle with with outside world and within yourself. And if you use your emotional quotient, what we do in Samarthya Yoga, that you have efferent different neural systems, that takes your emotions or thoughts. Like I'm talking to you, the information is going to your brain, and in your brain it is reaching to certain part where it makes sense of it, and then it makes you understand. So all this happens through afferent neurons. It's called reticular activation system. We use that. So we use emotional quotient, we use your rationality, we use your willpower. I will come to that in a minute. But willpower is your resolve to stop this conflict within yourself, because there are two selves in you. One is that wants happiness, peace. It is same for everyone. So inner wealth is same for everyone. Everyone is entitled to it. It is your birthright to be happy. No one can take away your happiness, your peace away from you. And the second being is the mind body complex that is trying to fit into this society. So you whole day, your actions, your thoughts, your thought process, your reactivity is exactly opposite to what you want to be. But just because you want to fit into the society, that creates a conflict in you. And that is why we are suffering. That is why the life is chaotic. From today, stop trying to fit into the society. If you're a peaceful individual, if you want good for yourself and your family, for your society, and if you're on the right path, adopt right practices, Saamarthya Yog practices, and then forget about what people think of you. Because I will come to that in a minute to explain you that how this fitting into the society, this psychology is destroying the societies. Because the psychological patterns that are prevalent in society is not dictated by any rational thinking, but they are dictated by commerce. They are dictated by these commercial giants, and they are promoting binge drinking, alcohol, drugs, so much of illicit sex, so much of, because they're trying to present it to you that, okay, you are suffering, you are you are depressed, you are lonely, do this thing, take our product, use our product, and indulge in your sensual pleasures. We will sell you the sensual pleasures and you'll be happy. But what you find after years and years of consuming them, you find you're getting weaker and weaker inside. No one will tell you because it doesn't make a commercial sense. I've been doing this for almost 26 years now, and by God's grace, Guru's grace, we all our this whole community that we have, we do it for free, of course, because helping others gives us happiness. We understand what happiness is. There is no commerce involved in it. Yes, people do help us to do the projects which we do, creating thousands of centers across the globe where people can go and learn this science without spending a single penny. So when we understand who we are, what is the happiness, and how we can achieve it, then this society will not be able to fool you. That means you'll be more rational, more intelligent in your thought process, more clinical in your approach, and you will attain the results that you want. And at the end, no matter what, if someone plays football, he plays football because he wants to be happy. Someone is a doctor, he is earning money. We want to earn money, we want to have a house, we want to get married, we want to have kids, we want to do something. But at the end, what everyone wants is to be happy. But none of us are happy. No one sits down, take a step back, and think why we're not happy. So, neuroplasticity will help you to develop that resilience in you. That means you can create, if suppose if I'm repeating right habits, initially it will be difficult to change your habits. This path is not for faint-hearted people. This path is for very intelligent people, rational people, people who want to transform themselves, people who are not just pleasure seekers, but happiness. They want happiness, eternal happiness in their life. So when you challenge yourself initially, your pathways, your neuroplasticity, that the wrong pathways that you have developed over the years will resist you. So yes, you will have to repeat the same actions time and again, time and again, time and again. But what will happen over the years? The pathways that you use more and more and more, they become stronger, and that neuroplasticity becomes you. So you are the bundle of habits, and once that practice becomes so inbuilt in you, it becomes like I was giving an example of playing piano. Initially, you have to put an effort to learn an instrument, but gradually, when you play it over the years, it becomes it comes natural to you. You go in a state of flow, and if you are completely engrossed into it, what will happen? A state will come that the playing of piano is an automated thing. You're not even voluntarily moving your fingers. That is called the state of flow. This will come to you when you're living your life. That means life will not become uh, an exertion. You don't have to exert yourself to be a mom, to be a father, to be an employee, to be a businessman, to be a doctor or an engineer or whatever profession that you do. It becomes so in such a good flow that life flows. That means all that resistance goes, all those contradictions, all those conflict, all those chaoses that will go. That means earning money, your bread and butter, you can do in 1% of your ability to 99% of your skill sets, your abilities, your power, your capabilities, you can use to transform yourself, your family, your life, and humanity at large. And that's what we want to do with Samarthya. So you understand now that neuroplasticity is very, very important. Now, neuroplasticity also enables you to recover from stroke, injury, birth, and abnormalities. What we try, we're doing research, and our research will take another 5, 10 years to come up with some conclusive scientific papers. Obviously, human research is much longer, but then we've been doing, and what we're finding is that with these practices, you can prevent the expression of genes. That means the gene, switching and switching off the genes that can be achieved through this. That means, suppose people, modern medicine will tell you, oh, this disease cannot be treated. Oh, this is a permanent thing, nothing can change. But we are getting so many brilliant results in different fields. It is diabetes, hypertension, genetically inherited disorders, arthritis, bronchitis, sinusitis, lots of autoimmunological disorders. We're getting very, very brilliant results. And in psychological problems, we're getting even better results. Why? Because we're addressing the root cause of the problem. So neuroplasticity, actually, what it does to you is that it creates a pathway in a system which heals your body and mind, and it gives you an aptitude to in dealing with the situation in a right way by providing you uh, a much more concrete and rational way of reacting to the circumstances. Now, you can learn new ways by being responding to the conflict. We will cover these, that what are internal conflicts in coming sessions as well. That why one part of us wants to do something, accept something. We know that this is good for us, and one part of us, drags us into doing something which we know is wrong for us, for the family, for the society, but we still end up doing that. This inner conflict's always going on and on. And if you're in conflict, then what happens is that, uh, suppose if I'm rational in my approach, and I know I need to go to Manchester, okay, I can go by plane, I can go by train, I can drive. Okay, how long it will take if I drive, how long it will take if I take a plane, how long it will take if I take a train, what are the costings, what is my purpose, why I'm going there, I need to attend a meeting, I'll come and I'll go, what I will do there. So all these things you will go through this, and then you will make a rational decision that, okay, going by flight is okay because I'm very short of time, I'll quickly go and quickly come, this is what I need to accomplish. Now, suppose without making this rational decision, you just go and then you realize that you're stuck in traffic because you did not do your research, no rational understanding that, okay, the roads are blocked and you are stuck there for hours and hours. Now, once you finish this whole exercise, you will have to do a backward rationalization. Backward rationalization is something that most of us are reacting without a rational thinking, and then we try to justify what we do. So we constantly justifying what we do rather than doing what is justifiable. This is where life goes wrong. Life goes very chaotic in a sense that you're constantly trying to reconcile things because you cannot go to sleep with a disturbed mind, with an upset mind. So what you do is that your brain try to create a logic because it needs to put you to sleep, because unless you go to sleep, you will not be refreshed next morning, and if you don't sleep properly, then your body will start developing lots of disorders. So this neuroplasticity helps you to deal with the conflict because I know my path. These are the practices. That is how I'm going to do, no matter whether I'm going through difficult circumstances in my life outwardly, but inwardly, this is the time I should get up. This is what I should do every morning. This doesn't, this is non-negotiable. My practices are non-negotiable. My mindset is non-negotiable, that I am confident, I am optimistic, and I these behaviors, positive behaviors which are driven by endorphin and enkephalin and serotonins, are non-negotiable. No, nothing can stop me from being happy. Yes, I'm going through difficult family situations, I'm going through difficult work situation, I'm maybe going through economic financial crisis. That's perfectly fine. But again, these circumstances cannot define that whether I should be happy or not, because my happiness is my internal thing and it is under my control. And I can release serotonin at will, with these practices, that I can stay in the state of happiness, and I will be better prepared to deal with this situation rather than if I'm being depressed, I am feeling lonely, I am feeling lost, or I am in psychological pressure in in dealing with something, I will be less equipped uh, to deal with them in a proper way. But if I'm positive, I have right mental attitude, then I can do that. So it also helps you. In many cases, you can also overcome depression, addiction, obsessive compulsive disorders, ADHD, and lots of other issues. We're sitting on a volcano of mental disorders anywhere in the world because of this advancement of social media, internet, and technologies. So people are so distracted they can't focus. Even on YouTube's or something, people just want 1 minute thing, 30-second thing. Kids are going through reels, and that is causing lots and lots of problems. Because if you can't focus, focus is the basic component of happy life. Attention is the basic component of happy life. Your memory is a basic component. Your ability, your discriminative intellect is the basic component of your happy life. If you're missing out on all that, no matter how much wealth you have, no matter how big family you have, no matter how much name, fame, money you have, it will not be able to give you happiness. Otherwise, these celebrities will not commit suicide at the peak of their careers. They will not feel lonely. Multimillionaires will always be happy. I meet a lot of them, lot of celebrities, personalities, politicians, who not. But I meet them, and within 5-10 minutes, I can understand that it's a very shallow personality. And inside, people think that they're happy, but they're not happy. This rational thought process is the Vedantic way of thinking that once you identify yourself that I am existence, consciousness, bliss itself. I am the happiness itself, which is everlasting, unchanging, omniscient, omnipotent, omniscient. It is everywhere. It is constant. If you live with that constant, identify yourself with that constant, and you gradually move away from the identification of mind and body, life is transformed for you. Not just for you, but for your surrounding, but for your family, but for the society and humanity at large. So this was the neuroplasticity. I just wanted to go take you through some basic concepts that we're going to use time and again. And I want to give you a rational logic that why you should adopt Samarthya practices. They're not just hypothetical thing. Someone has made up few things and they are promoting it to sell their products. Or no, it is a very ancient. It has been going on for thousands and thousands of years. Our sages, Rishi Munis, they have done lots and lots of research over hundreds and thousands of generation, and they have come up with these conclusions which we're trying to present to you in a capsulated form in a modern life, in modern day-to-day life, how we can incorporate and adopt those lifestyles in our day-to-day modern life so that we can live a healthy, happy, prosperous, purposeful life. Now if you can bring up the slide for um, uh, the slide of classical conditioning, please. That is a picture with a dog. Okay, while he brings that slide up, I just wanted to cover another aspect of it, is that there is a type of neurons that we have in our brain. So neurons is the basic unit of the brain. Single cell is called neuron, and the there are certain types of neurons that we call it as uh, empathy neurons, right? So mirror neurons. That means we're constantly trying to imitate. Now, when you are teaching kids, and when you are learning, we need to have understanding of these neurons and how they work, because kids don't do what you ask them to do. They do what they observe. That is how we learn. So. Um, I think I will come to that in a minute, but let's cover this slide that you see on your screen. It has disappeared again. Sorry. So thank you, Edwin. Yeah. So this is called classical conditioning. What is classical conditioning? Is that, so suppose if you have a dog and you give it food, right? This is an unconditioned stimuli. That means dog always loves its piece of meat or a bone or a bread or milk or whatever you're used to of feeding it. As soon as it sees that it's meal time, oh, come on, bring it on. And then what happens? Vagus nerve will cause an stimulation in your stomach to secrete hydrochloric acid. It's called vagal nerve stimulation, and it's the experiment is called Pavlovian pouch. So how the scientist, what he did a cut on the stomach, and then he collected the uh, secretion to see that what excites this nerve and when secretions happens and when it doesn't. So in this dog, you see, when you give it bowl full of food, what will happen? It will start saliving, and gastric juices will get secreted. Now, in second scenario, if you ring the bell, nothing will happen to dog, because bell has got no correlation to any reward or recognition in the brain. So what happens? Nothing happens. But when you ring the bell and you give the food, you ring the bell, you give the food, you ring the bell, you give the food, you repeat that for some time. What happens? Then dog start salivation, and again vagal nerve stimulation and hydrochloric acid secretion in the gut. Now, when you, after some time, you just ring the bell and don't give the food, what happens to dog? He still produces saliva and gastric secretions. Why? This is what has happened is that the unconditioned stimuli or the neutral stimuli, scientists have managed to convert that unconditioned stimuli, or neutral stimuli, into a potent stimuli, because dog's mind thinks that every time bell rings I get the food, every time bell rings I get the food. That now you just ring the bell, you don't give the food, dog will still make that conclusion out of it. And that is how we have managed to condition dog to respond to bell, which was not there. That means we have turned a neutral stimuli into a potent stimuli. What a beautiful concept this is. Yeah, if you can remove the slide, please. Similar, this same concept we will be using when we will be learning these exercises in coming sessions. What we do is that, suppose if this person is very bad, he has done wrong things to me in life or in our relationships, husband to wife, wife to husband, parents to kids, or your friends, families, or your understanding of the surrounding. What we do is that we are very much prejudiced in our understanding. First, we did not have rational thinking. We did not design ourselves. We did not work on ourselves. Somehow, through neuroplasticity, we developed a personality and an ego, which is identifying itself with the mind and body. So your foundation is wrong. Then this I is because you are not open to the ideas. You know what happens is that you think that any idea, any suggestion, any practice, anything that is different from what you understand is not good for you. So you start blocking yourself. When you block yourself, then what happens? You feel threatened. Although the idea is, suppose if someone tells you, oh, you wake up very late in the morning, why don't you start waking up 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning? It will change your life, because it's a Brahma Muhurt. It's the time when cortisol levels are high. If you wake up, you do breathing exercises, you do meditation, your serotonin level will go high, the stress hormone will go down, and whole day the levels will remain low. That means you will be happier. But if someone is too much stuck in their way of getting up late in the morning, they'll say, "Oh, I'm not for this. I'm a late waker. I'm not an early bird." And they're so stuck. Now there is a problem. If you don't have a rational thinking, think, okay, I will achieve this by waking up in the morning, and I'm losing this from waking up in the morning. So your reward and recognition system will work. Or you have a fear that, oh, I might be a failure in my life if I don't wake up in the morning. You behave in a different way. But if you become irrational, then you reject the ideas. You reject all the good ideas in your life. And this is one of the reasons why people have so much problems in their relationship. This is where, because you are so much stuck in your way of thinking, that you don't allow someone else to come up with a better how we should be. And that's what Vedanta talks about. That's what it says, that the agility of mind and body is a spirituality. That means you should be open to the ideas. You if we do a discussion, that means I'm putting forward what I think, you put forward what you think. We discuss, we brainstorm, and whatever is best, we go with that. When you do argument, you've already made up your mind that this is my point and I want to win. So you associate that with your false ego, and every time you try to prove that, and that leads to lots of conflicts. Now what has happened? Suppose someone says you something and you take it so personally, and you identifying yourself with mind and body, and someone say, oh, you're stupid. Now you say, oh, how dare he call me stupid? Now what happens? That word will disturb you for months and weeks to come, and you start disliking that person. Suppose if you don't take that word personally, you can say that I know I'm a good person, I'm doing good to the society, I want to live a good life, and I'm an intelligent person. If he thinks that I'm stupid, that is his opinion, and he might be mistaken about me, or I pardon him for what he said. What will happen? Straight away, you will have a very calm state of mind. But when we start taking things personally and we are so blocked in the way we think, then what happens? That where the problem is. Now, this conditioning, where this conditioning comes, which I've just explained you in Saamarthya Yog, what happens is that I have an ability as your guru, as your mentor, to change this stimuli. If you're not clear on this concept, you can always ask questions and we will answer that. So suppose if a circumstances creates a reactivity in you of irritability or anger. If you can bring up this slide on the anger, please, so we can cover that and then I'll give you a quick explanation. What happens that a stimuli, a thing, a substance is acting as a stimuli which can trigger anger reaction in you. Now, I want you to be in control of that. I decide when I want to be angry and when I don't want to be angry. I decide when I want to be happy and when I don't, because I want to give you the control over your own life in and how you respond to a situation. Now, this can be learned. That means the same situation which gives you a trigger of anger with Samathic practice will not give you a trigger of anger. That means you will still be calm and composed. Same way we change the stimuli for the dog, we can change it for ourselves as well. Yes, thank you. So I'll give you a quick example of that. I know it's getting a little bit heavy, but I think again, as I said, I'm trying to keep it as simple as it is. But again, this path is for you have to understand some scientific concepts before we actually get into the practices, so that your mind has rational. We will follow a logical pathway here. So there is nothing irrational. There is nothing which I'm saying is just made up thing, or I'm just saying for sake of saying so that it looks good. No, there is a science behind it, and if you learn how it works, then you don't have to convince yourself to get up early in the morning. You don't have to convince yourself to be a good individual. You don't have to convince yourself to be an empathetic person who cares for the society, cares for the family, cares for the humanity, cares for the happiness of self and others, and it makes you a responsible individual unit of the society, which can make you contribute to the society at large. So coming back to my point now, how anger affects your brain. So what happens is that, suppose if you have a disappointment, frustration, judgment, or rejection, trust me, if you stay with me for next couple of years, you will see that these emotions will completely disappear from your consciousness. That means nothing can make you fearful. You're fearless. I always tell my disabled my child, you are fearless. You are pure, pious, pure, pious, beautiful, happy, blissful soul. Repeat it to yourself all the time, because this repetition causes neuroplasticity to develop. Now, before your brain will make an irrational reactivity to the circumstances, your neuroplasticity will remind you that, listen, if I'm unchangeable, if I am the happiness, if I am not bad, I am not weak, I am not fearful, then what can I'm not afraid of anything, then what can make me fearful? Nothing. And what happens then? Your fear responses will go. Now, why we want these fear responses and all responses to be controlled, I will come to that now. So what happens is that, suppose first spark of the anger activity, there are pathways in medicine that we learn, that what pathways. So there are certain hormones. Hormones are the chemicals which get secreted directly into your bloodstream, right? And they the orchestra of these hormones actually make you feel the way you feel. So suppose your thyroid is a thyroid gland is an endocrine gland. So these are endocrine gland. They directly secrete some chemicals, which influences. Like insulin is also a hormone which regulates the sugar. Cortisol is hormone which regulates the stress. Endorphin and enkephalin, these are neurotransmitters. But suppose say serotonin, all these chemicals, when they get released in the blood, they create certain type of changes in the body. Now, what we don't understand, if we are living a very we're not living a mindful life. Because if we start living a mindful life, suppose if we are more aware of ourselves, who am I? I am the consciousness existence bliss itself, right? And I'm not affected by anything outside. What it is, it all is internal. Now, if that becomes an inbuilt belief system in you, if that becomes a permanent pathway in you, what happens? Your reactivity to trivial changes in life, because we have created a set of circumstances that, okay, if I get this kind of set of circumstances, I will feel happy. If I don't have that type of circumstances, I'll be unhappy, or I will stay unhappy until I get those set of circumstances. What happens eventually is that you develop an ability to be unhappy all the time. And that's what we all are unknowingly doing. This is such a sad situation in society, that we are always unhappy because we think that in this given circumstances, in these given conditions, I cannot feel happiness. And Vedanta challenges. It says you are the happiness itself. You should be happy all the time, no matter what. Yes, external circumstances could be favorable or might be adverse, but that does not impact you. So you look at this, how anger affects you is that, suppose a first spark of anger activity activates the amygdala. So this is a part in your brain which is responsible for fight and flight response, right? Now what it does is that then it activates hypothalamus. Again, it is a part in your brain. If you don't know about it for now, that is perfectly fine. But I'm just giving you a scientific rationale to your mind actually to leave old bad habits and bad neuroplasticity and adopt what I'm going to discuss with you. Because I have no wasted interest than to see you happy, healthy, prosperous, growing in your life, living a purposeful life, being a contributor to the society. So this hypothalamus then activates pituitary, it's the master gland, which regulates all other endocrine glands, and that pituitary secretes adrenocorticotropical hormone ACTH, which actually activates endocrine gland on top of your kidney, which actually secretes cortisol. Cortisol is a hormone which is responsible for for the stress response. Now, elevated cortisol response causes neurons to accept too much of calcium through their membrane. Now, what happens is that if you can show the next slide, please, the same related one, how anger affects you. Thank you. So, what happens is that, suppose a situation comes and you're not ready for it or you've not prepared yourself for it. In Saamarthya Yog, you're so well prepared for any adverse circumstances in life that nothing can change your state of being, because you know who am I and what is my state of being. Now, what happens with this when this level of cortisol stays high for a long time? Then what happens is it actually, you're not using 100% of your prefrontal cortex, which I told you before. You can repeat it with myself so that you know that it is important, it is related to your intelligence, decision making, cognition, planning, execution, decision making, all executive functions of your life, right? Now, actually, if cortisol stays high, it is high in most of us. Majority of people I do sessions with, majority of people nowadays are suffering with chronic fatigue. They're suffering with chronic stress. And this cortisol, high cortisol level, is responsible for majority of disorders, which actually people in NHS, doctors in NHS, and lots of healthcare people are not talking about, because they want to give you a pill or a chemical which again is sold at some price, so there is some commerce involved in it. So all the research is just focusing on developing a certain type of chemical or a molecule which can subside your symptom for some time, and you go back to the normal and you continue to take it a whole your life. That means they can make money out of your whole life. The science that I am sharing with you by grace of my God and Guru is that it gives you an ability to change these internal chemicals at your will as and when you want. And when you grow in practice in the next 5 to 10 years, you'll see that all the best hormones that you need, all the chemical equilibrium that you need, the hormonal equilibrium you need, it becomes an autonomous thing in yourself that it automatically adjusts you without you trying to do it. Initially, you have to do it by visualization techniques, by pranayama, by physical exercises, by changing your diet, by changing your mindset, by adopting a certain type of lifestyle. So, coming back to my point, what happens if you see in this picture that this elevated level of calcium, actually what it does is that it starts taking calcium away from cortisol level, what it does, that it starts taking calcium away from your bones and starts depositing it in your prefrontal cortex, which is actually responsible for all the decision making. Now you are already finding yourself, because you have not learned the art and science of living, you are already struggling in your life. Now by going into depression or thinking too much about the problem or increasing your cortisol levels, you are again, causing lots and lots of problems to yourself. Why? Because you are depositing calcium in the part of your brain which you wanted to activate and work better. Actually, by unknowingly, by high level of cortisol, what you're doing is that you're affecting the functionality of your prefrontal cortex. That means your stress actually affects your decision making, your planning, your attention, memory. People have very poor memory nowadays, I see. And unless you have a good memory, how can you progress in realizing yourself? It is very difficult. So all this cortisol is doing is that it causes your this prefrontal cortex to not work at optimal level, and even it deteriorate the functionality. On other side, it causes clogging of arteries, hypertension. Very simple to treat. It is not a very difficult disorder, but in modern medicine, doctors don't treat it properly. It is very simple to treat, very, very simple to treat. Clogging of arteries, cardiac disorders, stroke, depletion of bone, weakening of bone, reduction in T cells, that means the defense system, your autoimmunological disorders, problems of eyes, problems of, arteries and lungs and body fat and whatnot, insulin, diabetes, all these things are all related to cortisol. I can go on and on. We can do a separate session on that. The point I'm trying to make, how important it is. First mistake that we do is we're not taking steps to understand who I am. Second mistake we do is that we identify ourselves to mind and body. Then we created a false identity. Now, whole day we fight for that wrong identity. In doing so, we're not aware of our mental power and brain power. We're not aware of the inner might that we have. Now we are fighting a wrong cause all our life. Then we're trying to defend what it is not there, and what is there you're just completely ignoring it. Now what happens when you start doing that? Because you are incapable of dealing with the situation, circumstances, problem, people in your life, your stress level goes up, because it's an alert system. So suppose if a deer sees a lion, deer need to make a decision whether I should fight or fly. What it will do? It can only fly. So all the major activities, important activities, shut down in your body to utilize this energy in helping you to run fastest for your life. You don't need immunity that time, so it shuts down your immune system. You don't need your protective defense mechanisms in your body, so it shuts down that. Your reproductive, all other activities shuts down, and whole energy is used to make that animal run away from the danger. What we have done in this modern life, we have created hundreds and thousands of lion of mortgage, lions of relationship, lion of failure, lion of getting somewhere in life, lion of money. We created so many artificial lions in our life, and we are constantly afraid of that. That means we are torturing our mind and body by increased level of cortisol. With Samarthya Yog, you can brilliantly learn in few months to control it, and gradually over a few years of time, you will see that you become master at it. And that's when I want you to understand this sign, realize your happiness, and go out and talk to people. My sister, my brother, my mother, my daughter, my relatives, listen, talk to humanity and say, I know this secret. I have changed my life. I have come here to help you. What a beautiful situation we are. That time, now what situation we are? We're giving stress to ourselves and stress to others. Because you can only give what you have. If you don't have love and compassion inside you, if you have lots of pain inside, one day that pain will create more pain. If you have hatred inside, that will create more hatred. That's what you see, what this terrorists are doing, what is happening in different parts of world, because they are so fixed in their ideas, and they just fixed in their ideologies, and they just think that they are so much engrossed into their way of living that they are not open to the ideas or a better life. For someone, I constantly learn. I'm like a 5-year-old kid. I go and meet people. I always, I find their lives interesting. If they're doing something better than I do, I learn it. I learn it all the time. I keep an aptitude of a 5-year-old kid because the people are an institution in themselves. They are good at something which I am not. Why can I not learn it? Why cannot I love people? Why cannot I have empathy for people? This goes away when you create a false identity and ego. Remember, my friends, your ego always wants to win. It can kill itself, it can kill others, but it will not want to lose. And a spiritual person doesn't care about it. You think I'm stupid? That is perfectly fine. You say something to me? That is perfectly fine. Because I'm confident of who I am. If someone says I'm not an educated person, they can think I'm not. But I know the reality. If I will not change because they're saying, if someone says I'm unhappy, it is their choice. If someone thinks that I am certain way which I am not, it is their opinion and they are much entitled to it. But when we start taking it so personally on a false ego, that's where the problem happens. And this all originates from how we identify ourselves. No modern education teaches that, but our sages understood very early in their lives. Now, coming back to my point, the third concept that I want to discuss with you, which I touched upon um, just before Alak was bringing up the slides, that is the empathetic neurons. Now, these neurons, like how the learning happens is through neuroplasticity. We understood through classical conditioning. Now, these empathetic neurons, what they do is that they very listen very carefully, very carefully. That will help you to improve yourself and help others around you. That these neurons are empathetic. That means, suppose if someone is in pain and I love them, I identify them as my mother, brother, sister, extended family, my disciple, or part of my group, and they are going through a bad phase, I automatically develop some empathy for them, some emotions. Why? Because I have sense of identification. So these mirror neurons are responsible to imitate and understand. Suppose if someone going through pain, my mirror neurons will actually help me to understand the situation, imitate that situation, and create that hormone in me. I repeat myself. These mirror neurons actually, suppose if I something say suppose if I see two people fighting, right, and one get injured, I will have an empathy for the injured person. This is a normal human behavior that we have. Now, the most important bit is that this mirror neuron does not understand difference between the reality and visualization, and that's where we manipulate this ability of mirror neurons to actually improve ourselves, improvise ourselves, and make our practices. Because if we have what we are is the work of 20, 30, 40 years. It will take another 30, 40, 50 years for us to be a different person. We don't have that much time in it. So what we do, we use our rational part of our mind. We use rationality, inductive, deductive logic to reach to a conclusion. This is my goal. That is how I want to be. These are the steps I need to follow to be there. And these are the tools in Saamarthya Yog that I'm going to apply. And then you use mirror neurons to use your emotional quotient to channelize these suggestive therapies, the visualization therapies, to actually impact a specific emotion center in your brain, specific parts of your brain, to to change the neuroplasticity and enhance it in a way, create the pathways that are beneficial for your existence. So these mutant, they don't understand. Suppose if you watch a movie, that's why I tell people not to watch television too much. It is making you dumb. It is actually causing you problem because it is not giving you an entertainment. It is actually you are living what you're seeing there. And that means your neurons don't understand, this empathetic neurons don't understand the difference between reality and fiction. So suppose if you're watching lots of violence and lots of all these sensual pleasures and all this thing, actually it creates garbage. It creates problem in your mind. Now you sit down for meditation and say, oh, I've been meditating for this time. So no, if your eating habits are wrong, it creates an impression. If your sleep is not right, it affects you. If your thought process is not right, it affects your how you feel. So these motor neurons, I hope I am clear on that, that it gives you an ability to just when you visualize yourself something. Suppose if I visualize myself as a pure, beautiful, pious soul, I am the consciousness, bliss, existence itself. I'm Sadchidanand. Right. Now, my will, I touched on the will. Will is the ability to remove the dissonance in your decision making. Your false identification actually makes you confused. Shall I fit into this society or I do this? I want to spend some time with myself, but no, for social reason I have to do this. Because everyone drinks, I have to drink. Because everyone follows this, I follow this. Because everyone wears clothes like this, I wear this. Because everyone goes to party, I have to go to party. You don't ask yourself what is good for you or bad. You're just doing it because others are doing it. So this conflict is there. Now this conflict actually goes away with your discriminative intellect, with your rational thinking. What is good for me? I have 2 hours. Can I read? Can I write? Can I sit down and experience my true self, which is the blissfulness? Or I waste my time on phone, mobile, talking, distracting myself. So when you have rational thinking, then what happens? You avoid that dissonance. Then you implement things that you want to become, how you want to become. By using these empathetic neurons, you actually visualize yourself. The way you visualize yourself, your brain actually understands that how you are and who you are. Now, the beautiful thing is that once your brain understands that I am the happiness, and I am indestructible. I am omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent. I am that mighty. I am that Tatatamasi Shvetaketu. I am that consciousness. Now what happens? Trivial things, will not excite reactivity in you. Small incidences in life will not make you. Otherwise, I see people are so freaked out. They so meticulous in wrong things that if things go little bit here and there, not according to the plan, they just lose their temper. All the time, I see that. A true yogi, a true Saamarthya Yogi, a true Vedanti is so happy always in his. Yeah, because what happens when you are happy inside, that happiness percolates down into the last person in this universe. Because I will come to that, how these brain frequencies work, and a very scientific explanation on that, and how brain frequencies work, that I will cover in the next session, and also how this whole existence and universe is so beautifully connected, how single neuron, every single neuron, 100 billion neurons make one brain, and if it is in coherence, if it is in synchronization, then what will happen, that every single action that you do will have so much force behind it that you can make things happen. But if all cells are not in coherence with each other, then there is a problem in life. That's where you are confused. So the point I'm trying to make is that with your rational thinking, you cut down, knowing that who am I, you cut down the dissonance, you cut down the conflicts inside. As soon as you cut down the conflicts, 50% you're there. You understand that who I am, what is my purpose. The actions don't align to my purpose. I'm not for that. It is as simple as that. Whether you like me or you don't like me, I have nothing against you. I have no grudges. I have no bad emotions for anyone. I have no aggression or anger, or I'm not opinionated about yourself, and I'm not opinionated about myself. What I know for myself is I'm happy. I'm source of happiness. I am the happiness itself. I am here to be happy, to make others happy, and to help this existence. Now, once you have a rational belief system behind that, then most of your dissonance goes. Then you use your empathetic neurons to actually visualize yourself every day. And what happens, that becomes your reality. How you have made a false identity as your reality, mind and body. Even if I'm telling you now, but you have practiced this for so long, for so many births, that you still will identify yourself as mind and body. So, although you understand the concept, although you'll appreciate such a brilliant session, oh, I really liked it. But then, as soon as you go into your day-to-day life, you will arguing with each other. You will still find, I like this, I don't like this is like this is like that, why he's doing this, why he's doing that. You again will go to the body and mind consciousness because we're used to of it. Similarly, just imagine if you, without trying to identify yourself with the with your happy being, your consciousness, you start feeling that I am the consciousness itself. And without an effort, when it becomes effortless, your 90% job is done. So that will happen. And that's where we will use this the empathetic neurons to actually visualize ourselves as we want to be. And what happens, it doesn't understand difference between the actual real outside world and the imaginations or visualization, and it actually starts creating the secretions that you want. Suppose if you are in a very stressed situation, but you close your eyes, you sit down for your meditation, you bow down to your God and Guru, and you meditate. And now, as you go inside, you realize that I am the happiness itself. What will happen? Endorphin, enkephalins, oxytocin, the empathy hormone will secrete. And within 10 minutes, you'll see the situation you are finding so difficult to deal with. You find answers for that from inside. You become so calm and you say, okay, this is what I need to do, and that is how I'm going to do. You're dealing with the situation. You are not an escapist. You're not escaping from the problem. You're not also randomly responding either. Most of the people are randomly responding based on their uh, past experiences. What we create is we create a future reference system in the future. That means your reference point is usually in the past. That is how you're judging yourself and surrounding. We create a future a reference system in the future. That means that is how I want to become. If I want to become like that, I want my surrounding to be like that, I want humanity to be like that, then these are the principles, these are the tools, and that is what I need to do. And if it doesn't align with my purpose, I will not do it. If it aligns with my purpose, I'll do it. I'm not a joker. I am not an entertainer here to please and entertain people. No, you are actually the happiness, and you are here to make people happy, not entertain them. So this concepts become very very clear. Once this becomes clear to you with the practice, what happens? Your practices become more fruitful to you. So these were the basic scientific explanations I have given you. I think I wanted to cover more on this, but then I think it's best if we start with some practices. Next, in next sessions, we'll continue with that. That suppose if a stimuli comes, what happens? Your brain actually, your neurons have certain voltage, right? If it reaches to a certain voltage, then what happens? Because of the ions, go in and out of the cell, it creates a higher voltage that triggers other neurons and other neurons. And when group of neurons they do something, then they create certain types of alpha, delta, beta, gamma waves. We do lots of research on that, and it's brilliant. You can just putting the bends and certain leads on your brain, you can understand that what level of what state of mind he is, whether someone is stressed or not, in deep meditative state, is calm, is anxious, or a sleep state or deep sleep state or dreaming state. Lots of things we can understand. How it works is that it's as simple as that every reaction, that every impression that your brain gets, it will create a certain type of neural activity. That means the voltage will vary, and that voltage vary, that means if it increases to a certain level, it activates other neurons, and then uh, a group of neuron activates, then that creates a certain frequency. Now once that frequency get created, what type of frequency that it, if it is matches with the universal frequency, or if it matches with the, then there is a synchronization of the universal consciousness and your consciousness. That means now, suppose if you take a drop out of ocean, it is not mighty. It is so trivial. Someone can just, dry it off, or you can blow it away. It has no might. But as soon as you mix that drop back into the ocean, the drop, it cannot be differentiated from the ocean itself. That means the drop is ocean itself. Such a beautiful thing. Now, when your egotistic existence stops existing, and this consciousness, the lower consciousness merges with the higher consciousness, that's where the purpose of yoga gets fulfilled. Yoga means union. It is the union of this lower consciousness of the to the higher consciousness. That means life becomes an effortless thing. Yes, you will still have problems. You will still have bodily problems. You could have still have problems in your body. You can have problem in the society. That's perfectly fine, but that doesn't define my happiness. I still want to be happy and then deal with the problem rather than being disappointed, dejected, low self esteem, depressed, and then respond to this. Because then I'm hampering my ability to deal with the circumstances. The whole point I have mentioned is that I need to enhance my ability to deal with the circumstances by controlling the reactivity to the circumstances, but not the circumstances itself. Such a beautiful thing. Even talking about it makes me so happy. Now, I think I'll stop the scientific explanations here. I want to leave some time for us to ask some question and answers. But what do we do? We understood so far what is brain, what is neuron, what principle the learning happens, the neuroplasticity. We understood how situation affects us, what happens in our brain through conditioning, what is an stimuli. A stimuli is a substance that can create some reactivity in us, and that can cause some bodily chemical changes. Can we control it? Yes. Can we control neuroplasticity? Yes. Can we control our brain? Yes. Can we make right habits as an autonomic process in our body? Yes. Can we control mindset? Yes. All the answers are yes, and they're logical. Then we understood that, okay, I feel the way I feel, why I get, so depressed or so excited about certain things when it is not happening to me, but is happening to my partner or to my family or to surrounding. It is because of the empathetic mirror neurons. Now, these mirror neurons can be manipulated for our benefit rather than feeling sad, depressed. Suppose if you are watching too much of visual crime, like on a video game, someone is killing someone, or movies or something. Don't think that you will get away with this. This will lead you to lots of psychological problems in your old age. And mind you, as you get old, your willpower goes down. When your willpower goes down, your mind is distracted, your body is diseased. You don't have any goal in life. Such a miserable state it is in me. I am warning you now that before it is too late, wake up. Give a purpose to yourself for your whole life. Your purpose should be so big in your life that you are never looking for entertainment. You don't even have time for the entertainment. You're using every single moment to uplift yourself, to build something of yourself, to do something good for yourself, for the society, and for the humanity at large. Why not? So there will be no depression, there will be no anxieties, there will be no addictions, there will be no purposelessness. There is no lack of self-esteem that will be there. Now, empathy neurons will help us in that, and we will learn in practices how it does. Now, last thing I want to cover before we go to certain practices is there are certain hormones in your body. These hormones, so cortisol hormones we covered, that cortisol hormone is one which causes stress response. In some amount, it causes no issues, but if constantly high amounts, then there is a problem. Uh, Serotonin, endorphin, and enkephalin are the hormones that there are certain neurotransmitters and hormones that helps you to feel rewarded and happy. So suppose if I go and help a homeless with just food, he's been hungry for 3 days, and I give them some food, I'll feel happy. I'm not going to, maybe I might not see him my whole life, but I will still feel happy about the act I have done. So that's where the psychology of purposefulness will come, because your orchestra of your hormone is very, very, very important. Very, very, very important. Now, suppose if you some people tell me they just start feeling low without any reason. They feel that they're losing everything is slipping out of their control. Their life is slipping out of their control. And I'm surprised to see 68 to 70% of the youngsters age 13, they are feeling they have fear of missing out, loneliness, depression. There's so much distraction out there. I don't want to go to a negative aspect of it because we try to understand science. I'm just going there, but the chemistry of hormones needs to be understood very well for us, and how we can trigger them and how we can manage. Because if I understand how my insulin works, I can never be a diabetic patient. Obviously, I had to implement the practices. If I know how serotonin works, I can never be a depressed person. And these techniques that are rishis, from ancient Vedic Hindu culture, they have evolved in Himalayas, are so brilliant that the first thing it addresses is that it gives you a clear, rational understanding of who you are. And that's where the journey starts. You must ask the question to yourself, who am I? Whatever is changing is not me. Whatever is mine is not me. This car is mine. I am not the car. This body is mine. I am not the body. And whatever is changing is not me. If the problem happens when someone says, "Oh, this is my car," and if someone says, "This is I car," you will laugh at him that he's gone mad. But similarly, someone should laugh at you as well. You call this body as I. You don't call it you. When you say my body, my hand, my eyes, my face. But actually, when you deep down when you think this body is I, and that's where the problem happens. So they understood this very clearly, that we have to differentiate these two, where the point of conflict, where is the conflict happening, then enforce the natural laws, the neurological laws, the scientific laws, the psychological laws on enforcing that this is what is true I. Gradually, this falls will subside because the neuroplasticity of this will be so strong that it will be inbuilt in you. And such a beautiful concept. Now, controlling hormone also comes under that. Now, I think I will stop here, but then we will cover more science in the coming sessions. Today, I will just go through few practices that you can start in your journey. These are the first starting steps towards your journey of a peaceful, happy, healthy, prosperous life, a non-chaotic life, a peaceful life, a life with clarity in everything that we do. Because every single moment you have a clarity of why am I doing, why I'm eating this, there is a reason behind it, why am I getting up at this hour of the morning, I have an answer to this, why do I think the way I think, because there is a rational behind it, why I'm acting like that, because there is a rational behind it. And that logic is rational, it's not emotional. Oh, I like to do this, I like this. Oh, I'm upset because things didn't happen the way I want them. This is how the worldly mind thinks. A yogi mind, an enlightened mind, thinks in a very different way. There has to be rational behind it. Such a rational life. We have left rational life behind, and we are following an egotistic, false life system, and we are identifying ourselves to the transitory, perishable, trivial, non-existential, illusionary identity, and that's where the whole psychology problem comes. And coming from the psychosomatic disorder, we do lots of research because of our medical background. I can tell you that 99.99% yes, genetic disorder. Suppose if you have someone has juvenile diabetes, nothing can be done about it, because it is there. Some genetic problems, nothing much can be done. Someone is born with it. You feel you have empathy for that person, but that's fine. But 99.99% disorders, except for accidental and infectious disorders, are actually man-made. You are creating that. You are creating your hypertension, you're creating your diabetes, you're creating autoimmunological disorders. Just where is the starting point? No one talks about it in modern medicine. No one talks in modern education. Is where the conflict is starting. Where the conflict is starting, that your identification of self is wrong. So we're very clear on that, that I am pure, beautiful, pious soul. I am the happiness itself. Mind and body is mine. I am not the mind and body. What is mine is not me. They belong to me. It might change. That's what in Gita say, that okay, how you change your clothes, you don't worry about your clothes. If the one type of clothes is not fitting you, or they gone, rag you, what you'll do, you will bring another cloth and you wear, and you're not sorry about the. Similarly, this Atman, the soul, wears this body, and we have change this kind of body, these kind of clothes for thousands and thousands and millions of times. So we shouldn't be worried about too much of it, because it's changing. The third point, very important for you to learn and understand and remember all the time, whatever is changing is not me. That is a Vedantic philosophy, and it's a beautiful therapy for all the psychological problems. Because if something cannot destroy me, and if nothing can destroy me, why would be I afraid of? Suppose if my consciousness, everyone is part of my consciousness, who am I be jealous of? Who I will be competing with? Who will I be afraid of? Who will who can cause me pain? My right hand never, causes problem for the left. No, it doesn't, because it's part of one unit. Similarly, if this whole existence is part of me, and everyone and every single thing, situation, circumstances, no matter how I feel about it, is there to make me something great, and it's there for me to realize myself, then all the conflicts, all the competition, jealousy, feeling of loneliness, anxieties, depression, psychological problems goes away. So I think I'll stop here for today. I hope that has given you a good insight into the concepts from a scientific and a rational grounds. Let's talk about some practices to start with, and what you should start doing in the mornings. And the next sessions will cover more and more about it. So, first thing I would suggest is that be a childlike, have a childlike attitude, like a 5-year-old child. He falls, he cries, then he's playing again. If someone says something to him, he might cry, and then he forgets about it, and then he keeps no ego. Children keep no ego. They, very little kids, they have no ego. They are not egotistic in their approach. That means, first thing is that you should be open to the ideas. A baby, we think that they don't understand much, but they are learning more than we do, because they're creating a database. Their eyes are wide open, and they're looking everywhere, and they're trying to make sense of everything all the time. When we grow old, what is old age? When we stop learning, that is the old age. If you continue to learn all your life, you will stay young in heart, mind, and body. So my first request will be is that don't typecast yourself, don't judge yourself, and please, please, please don't typecast others, and don't judge others. Give opportunity to yourself to improve, to evolve, and to thrive, to survive and thrive and explore yourself. And same for the others. Yes, they might have misbehaved you in past because their level of knowledge was different. When Guru comes in your life, he changes your perception of this existence of yourself, and he doesn't change the world. When you become spiritual, does your husband, your wife, your children will not start to be behaving differently. No, it is how you perceive them and how you respond to the circumstances that changes, and that brings the beauty that you are no longer anxious about things. You're no longer anxious about the circumstances. You're not feeling incapable. You're always feeling that yes, whatever best I could have done today, I have done it. And then you surrender yourself to God, to the lotus feet of God, and go and you relax. You go to deep sleep, you wake up, you are refreshed, and you follow your routine and repeat. That is what we do. So wake up early in the morning. Again, whatever time you wake up, I'm not sure what time people wake up, but good time is to wake up as early as you can. Lots of us, we start our day 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. If you can't wake up that early, check what time you wake up. Suppose if you wake up 8 o'clock, try and start waking up 7:30 or 7 o'clock, because you're used to of waking at 8. You can't straight away start waking up early. But there are certain periods of morning that is called Brahma Muhurat. Brahma Muhurat means an auspicious time of waking up. Spiritually, it has its own meaning, because that time you are receiving grace. The whole world is very quiet at that point in time. So there are certain frequencies that you can catch if you sit down in meditation or breathing exercises, or you are awake. If you are sleeping, then you are not receptive to that grace. Scientifically, your cortisol levels are high. So actually, when you got in the morning, but actually when you wake up early in the morning and you start your practices, what happens? You bring the cortisol level down. That means stress hormone down. So if you miss that period, then your cortisol level is going to be high. It peaks during the day, and then it gradually goes down. Then it peaks and goes down. It continues, the cycle continue every day. Now what happens is, if you wake up early in the morning, your stress level, stress hormone goes down. You can prepare for yourself. You have more time for yourself. You're working on yourself. A person who wins the gold medal in Olympics for running, uh, you know, wakes up and go for a run every single day when no one is observing him. He's not doing for someone else. He's just working on himself. To be better than others, he had to work on himself, not on others. What we try and do, we try and tell others what they should do. So stop that for some time being. Practice yourself. Focus on yourself. Focus on yourself all the time. A spiritual person focuses on himself, that what he can do with himself. Make something of yourself. And once you have, you will have an ability to influence people and transform other people's life. So waking up early is good. Gradually bring it to Brahma Muhurat. So what is Brahma Muhurat, or what is the best time for your meditation, your breathing exercises? Suppose if sun rises at 6 o'clock, from 4:30 to quarter past 5 is the brilliant time for you to be with yourself. So wake up early. That's what I can say. We will cover more in depth when when we move into this journey further. But for now, as suppose if you wake up 7 o'clock and it's good enough for you to reach office at 9, but you are rushing, if waking up 6 o'clock will change your journey. I'll give you an example and then we'll go through some practice and then questions. So suppose if you are going to catch a flight and you are late for flight already for 2 hours, you will not enjoy who you're going with. You will not talk to people. You are anxious that, oh, I might miss my flight. You're not enjoying the sceneries outside. You're not enjoying the journey. Somehow you reach there, you beg for the entry, and somehow they put you on the plane and you go. Another person who's 2 hours early, he'll have so much calm in himself. He's enjoying everything. He's thanking people who are coming to drop him off, seeing him off. He's enjoying the drive. He's looking at things outside. He's talking. He's enjoying his journey. He reaches there, he checks in, and he flies. The end result is same. All of us will we die, but in death and birth we are the same. It is the journey that matters. How beautifully you live that journey, and that journey is in your hand. If you're prepared well for it, your journey experience, the being self-aware actually improves the profoundness of your life. Being self-aware increases the profoundness and the richness of your life experience, and that's what we're trying to achieve. So waking up early is always good. There is no exception straight. I cannot take any exception straight. Oh, I wake up early, but then I do all my practice. No, waking up early is good. Wake up early, sit down straight. Your back should be straight. Your neck should be straight. When you're entering into this journey, you have to learn how to stabilize your body and how you stabilize your mind. Because if you have a fidgety in your mind, suppose people shake their legs or always playing with the pain or doing something like playing some. No, get in a habit of sitting straight, your back straight, your neck straight, your chin slightly tilted upwards, not too much, and then you close your eyes. As soon as you get out of the bed. Now, worrying thought will come, oh, I don't want to go to my job again, same mundane job. I don't want to go. It will come, but don't worry. Focus back and say, my day is going to be beautiful today. No matter how the work will be, I have decided to be happy. And bring a smile on your face. It might be forced initially, gradually, as I said. Remember all these principles we've discussed, what you do repetitively. Now your brain will understand as soon as this person wakes up, he wants to be in the good mood, not in the bad mood. So your neuroplasticity will work that way. It is as simple as that. When you are cheerful, your happiness hormones increase. Then what you do is second step is that you are happy, is a smiling face. Then you practice visualization. Very simple technique is that have some pictures of your gurus or the idols that you believe in, maybe Lord Rama, Krishna, whoever you believe in, have the picture in there, and then focus it in for 10 seconds and look at it and close your eyes. As you close your eyes, try and how you do visualization? Very simple. As you look at something with open eyes, you can see all the colors and shapes and everything. Similarly, when you close your eyes, so because of my practice, suppose I'm looking at the picture in front of me of Lord Rama and I'm closing my eyes. Now I can see it exactly as it is with my eyes closed. Now, what will happen when you start this process? Gradually, you will see and close your eyes. The picture will be there for a fraction of seconds, then it will start disappearing. It will go blur. So you focus all your attention to keep it in shape exactly as it is, as with the open eyes, for as long as you can. Then you will see that the time span will start increasing from 5 seconds to 10 seconds to 20 seconds. That means your visualization, your focus, your concentration, your ability, your memory, your good hormones are increasing by the day. Simple practice. Simple practice. Now what I keep in my mobile, because we can't keep our mobiles away, so in ancient days they used to look at their hands and visualize different goddesses of knowledge, of prosperity, of wealth, of health. That's what they used to do. Karagre vaste lakshmi, karmadde saraswati, like that they would say. That means I am reminding myself that today is going to be a brilliant day for me. I'm not letting my mind tell you, oh, another bad day, bad situation, bad circumstances, fighting life again. No, I don't want to do this, but I have to do it. What can I do? Because I have to earn money for my family. This is all negative. Money will flow, prosperity will flow. If you're destined to have name, fame, money, popular, it will come. You are not working for that. Again, your purpose is to realize yourself, the true self. That is your purpose, is to realize the God. So you do visualization, then I will teach you a breathing technique, and then there are other techniques that you can do, but to start with this breathing technique, and then we will close here. And if someone wants to ask a question, we'll keep it open for 5 minutes. So what you do, you're sitting straight, you close your left nostril with your index and little finger, and your right nostril through thumb, like this. Now, when you're breathing in, have a source of light. So maybe a lamp or something in the morning as soon as you wake up. Because what happens, you have a gland in your brain, which creates a circadian rhythm. So as soon as we are not nocturnal animals. We're not nocturnal. We function in the day and we go to sleep. That's how humans are designed. Our brains are designed. So there is a pineal gland which secretes melatonin, which is responsible, which plays function in sleep and wakefulness. So have a source of light. Think that this is the grace of God that is going to come through my left nostril. It will go through. We'll understand science more in detail in coming sessions, but going through left nostril, it is going down through my neck, through my vertebral column, down to where you pass through. Just about that, a blast happens of a white, brilliant light, and you're full of light, and then that light travels back again into your brain, and then a blast happens of light, and then whatever unwanted ill health, misfortune, negative thoughts, unwanted thoughts, anything that you don't want in your life, you want to go away from you, all darkness, all the dark cloud is going away. There's a fight between white and light clouds, and then eventually it is going away from right, and then you see it going away from right. So we do it together. You breathe in, you hold. Now hold as long as you can. Visualize that light is going down to the bottom, and then it creates a blast of light. It travels up, and then it travels up, and it creates a blast in brain, and then you throw it out from right. Visualize that all your life problems, all your diseases, all your sorrows, all your anxieties, all unwanted thing, all misfortune is going miles and miles away in the infinite, never to come back. And then breathe again from right. Breathe that light again. Visualize the same. And then same, release it from left. So left, hold right, right, hold left. That's what you do. This is one. You do it 3 times. I think I'm just conscious of time. It starts with this. When you wake up in the morning, go down to the Mother Earth, pray to God that God be with us, give us strength, positivity, energy. I want to be happy. I want to make everyone else happy. I should be a positive impact in the society. Uh, just start doing this practice. There are other breathing exercises that we'll cover in coming sessions. And always have a rationale behind why you're doing things. We have covered everything. Just to reiterate everything, that your brain is very important aspect of your life, very important organ in your life. Then neuroplasticity, that is how you learn. Your reactivity to the circumstances can be changed, not the circumstances. The reactivity to the circumstances can be changed by understanding what is the stimuli that we want to be impacted. The stimuli can be changed through conditioning. Then your empathetic neurons helps you to visualize things that how you want to become. You put your reference point into the future, and then your self identification with the self is that I am pure consciousness, existence, bliss itself. I am not the mind and body. Minds and body sufferings are not mine. They are separate, away from me, distance from me, and I'm not impacted with it. I still want to be happy. And you start your day early in the morning, and with these practices, and then we will again, before you go to bed, before you go to bed, do these practices, and we will add on more to these practices in coming sessions. I'm hopeful that you have enjoyed first couple of hours of your journey into the self, and it makes sense for you. And I hope that you resolve today, once we finish this session, sit in front of God and Guru and say, God, give us the strength, give us the power, wisdom, energy, right wisdom, so that we walk on this path. I want to live a beautiful, healthy, happy, prosperous, and purposeful life, which is meaningful for myself and my surrounding. God, help me, my family, my surrounding, and the humanity at large. And then embark on this journey. I'm more than happy to answer any questions. If I'm busy, we'll make sure that we answer those questions in next sessions. If you have any questions, I will open the floor for next couple of minutes, and I will close this call by saying a Shanti part that is for peace of everyone, that everyone becomes healthy, everyone stays healthy. No, may no one suffer any chronic disorders, and may everyone be healthy, wealthy, and wise. Om. Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. I pay my obeisance to my God and Guru in all of you. May you have a very good journey and successful journey on this path to the self realization and a purposeful, meaningful, happy, healthy life.